The year is 1916. Europe is locked in a war unlike any before, and the world is watching as the fate of nations hangs in the balance. Verdun, northeastern France, is not just a battlefield, it's an apocalypse of mud and steel. The land is scarred beyond recognition, a wasteland where nothing living seems to survive. Operation Judgment? The German plan isn't to seize land, but to bleed the French army dry. Artillery never stops. The thunder of guns echoes day and night, shaking the very ground. Forests are obliterated, the earth churned with metal and bodies. Trees that once stood tall are now splintered stumps, and the air is thick with smoke and fear. Soldiers huddle in trenches, knee-deep in freezing mud, fighting not just the enemy but the elements. Every day is a struggle against hunger, exhaustion, and despair. The cold seeps through uniforms, numbing hands and feet. Above, shrapnel rains down, and every explosion brings new terror. The noise is relentless, shattering nerves, driving men to the edge. Sleep is rare, and nightmares are constant. Survival is measured in minutes. Every tick of the clock is a small victory. Every hour survived a miracle. This is industrial warfare, impersonal, mechanical, terrifying. Men fight the mud, the machines, and the sense that they are just cogs in a vast, uncaring war machine. The cold, the rats, and the filth that invades every corner of their lives, and the constant fear that the next shell is theirs. Danger is everywhere, and safety is an illusion. Courage and training matter, but the psychological pressure is overwhelming. Minds fray under the strain, and hope is a rare commodity. Even surrounded by comrades, men feel utterly alone in the chaos. The sense of isolation is crushing, and many wonder if they'll ever see home again. Communication is nearly impossible. Death is everywhere. Orders are lost and confusion reigns. In this hell, soldiers desperately cling to anything that offers a flicker of warmth or hope. A letter from home, a shared joke, or a photograph can mean everything. They need more than weapons. They need a reason to believe they'll survive another hour, and the strength to endure the unimaginable. At Verdun, death comes from more than bullets and shells. The trenches themselves are a relentless enemy, mud mixed with waste and decay, causing trench foot and disease. The cold is merciless, draining energy and leaving men vulnerable. Sleep is rare, exhaustion is constant, but the greatest threat is psychological. The endless drumfire of artillery, the terror of shell shock. Men break down, minds shatter under the strain. Survival means managing fear and despair as much as dodging bullets. Routines and small comforts become lifelines. Soldiers need anchors, moments of humanity to remind them they're still men, not just cogs in a machine. Physical endurance is vital, but it's the strength of spirit nurtured by the smallest things that determines who endures. In Verdun, hope is as essential as ammunition. In war, every supply is weighed for its value. Yet coffee is given extraordinary priority at Verdun. To generals, coffee is as vital as bullets. It keeps morale and alertness high. Supplying the front is a nightmare. Muddy roads, enemy fire. Every item must justify its place. Coffee always does. French command ensures every poilu gets coffee and sugar, sometimes even prioritizing it over food. Why? Coffee brings warmth, energy, and a moment of ritual in chaos. A hot cup can stave off hypothermia, sharpen senses, and give the will to face another day. Leaders learn. War is fought with minds as much as weapons. Coffee becomes a tool for mass morale, a small cost for preserving sanity and fighting spirit. In the bloody ledger of Verdun, coffee is a lifeline. Amid chaos, making coffee becomes a vital ritual, a predictable act in an unpredictable world. Grinding beans, heating water, brewing. These steps offer control and a brief escape. For a moment, a soldier is not just a target, he's a man, connected to memories of home. The aroma cuts through the stench, transporting him to safer places. Coffee is often communal. Men huddle, share tasks, and reinforce bonds. Passing a cup is an act of trust and fellowship. This routine marks time, gives structure, and provides milestones in the endless days. Each cup is a quiet victory. I am still here. I am still human. In the trenches, coffee is more than a drink. It's a lifeline to sanity. Coffee's comfort is physical as well as mental. In freezing trenches, a hot cup is liquid fire, fighting off hypothermia and restoring numb limbs. Caffeine cuts through exhaustion, keeping men alert when vigilance means survival. Fatigue is deadly. Coffee sharpens minds and reflexes. Boiling water for coffee also kills bacteria, making it safer than most water at the front. Coffee helps prevent disease, boosts energy, and keeps soldiers alive. For men at Verdun, the effects are immediate and essential. Coffee is not a luxury, it's survival in a cup. Soldiers' letters and diaries reveal coffee as a lifeline, not a luxury. In the bleakest moments of war, a simple cup of coffee became a thread connecting soldiers to home, to comfort, and to each other. Raymond Juba writes, "Nothing is more comforting than the hot coffee we drink in the morning." For him and countless others, this daily ritual was a rare source of warmth and normalcy amid chaos. It puts life back into our limbs and courage into our hearts. The act of sharing coffee was more than sustenance. It was a moment of unity, a brief escape from fear and exhaustion. The ritual of coffee is a moment of resurrection, a miracle in a tin cup. Each sip offered a fleeting sense of peace, a reminder of humanity in inhuman conditions. The aroma and warmth are a stark contrast to the horrors around them. Even the smallest comfort, like the smell of coffee, could lift spirits and spark memories of better days. Louis Barthus describes coffee as true nectar, a shared pleasure that erases misery, if only briefly. In those moments, soldiers remembered laughter, friendship, and hope. When coffee is missing, morale plummets. Its absence is felt as deeply as its presence. The longing for a cup reveals just how vital it was to their spirit. A German soldier laments, "No hot food and worst of all, no coffee." The deprivation was not just physical, but emotional, a blow to hope and endurance. The cold is unbearable. We feel abandoned. In the biting winter, coffee was more than a drink. It was a shield against despair. Coffee is linked to life and death, shared before battle, requested by the wounded, more effective than medicine for shock. It was a gesture of care, a promise of survival. These testimonies transform coffee into a symbol of hope and the will to survive. In every battered cup, there was a story of resilience, a testament to the enduring human spirit. Getting coffee to the front is a logistical feat, one that requires careful planning, coordination, and a great deal of determination from everyone involved. Beans travel from distant plantations across oceans and continents, passing through bustling ports and crowded warehouses before finally reaching the trenches. French and American armies treat coffee with the seriousness of ammunition, recognizing its power to sustain and comfort weary troops. Green beans are issued for longer shelf life. They can survive the long journey and harsh conditions without spoiling. Soldiers roast and grind them in the trenches, filling the air with a morale-boosting aroma that cuts through the mud and misery of war. The need for quick caffeine leads to the mass production of instant coffee, an innovation that changes how armies fuel their men. A cup of George for American doughboys becomes a cherished ritual. Delivering coffee is dangerous. Supply parties risk their lives under fire to bring it forward, braving darkness, mud, and enemy shells. The arrival of coffee is a major morale event, a rare comfort that brings men together and lifts spirits. It's a sign the army still cares, a reminder that someone is thinking of them far from the front. Armies risk men's lives for coffee because it's essential to keep hope alive, to offer a taste of normalcy amid chaos. The logistics of coffee are the logistics of survival, each cup a small victory against despair. In the trenches, a cup of coffee is proof that the men are not forgotten, and that even in war, comfort can find its way to the front lines. At Verdun, coffee becomes a symbol of camaraderie and resistance. Preparing and sharing it forges bonds. Men become brothers, not just soldiers. Around the coffee pot, stories are shared, silence is companionable, and fear is eased. Veterans teach recruits the ritual, building trust and cohesion. The arrival of coffee links men to the larger army, a sign they're not alone. Each cup is a collective relief, reinforcing purpose and belonging. The ritual gives meaning to suffering, a small act of defiance against despair. Coffee is a symbol of shared identity and hope, helping men hold on to their humanity. The story of coffee at Verdun is a lesson in survival and resilience. In crisis, endurance depends on finding meaning and connection in small things. Routine, like making coffee, anchors the mind against chaos. These rituals are vital coping mechanisms, not trivial habits. Coffee is rarely drunk alone. It's a social ritual that reinforces bonds essential for survival. Sharing a cup is mutual support, a quiet communication of strength. Resilience is forged in community, in shared warmth and understanding. The humble coffee cup becomes a symbol. Even in horror, humanity finds a way. The men of Verdun survived not just by strength, but by finding hope in a simple, steaming mug.